The Gloucester Park Preview is proudly presented by Retrovision. Our panel of experts will dissect the premier harness race meeting of the week and hopefully find the winners. Retrovision, lowest prices guaranteed. RAC members save an extra 5% every day at Retrovision.
Very good morning. Welcome along to the Retrovision Gloucester Park preview this morning. We've got 10 races to preview from Gloucester Park, the running of the Group 1 TABtouch WA Oaks for the 3-year-old fillies. The first getting underway at 5:18. Michael Young will be joining us very soon. No Glenn Mortimer this morning. He is off on a sabbatical and he'll be back again next week. But for the meantime, we can get straight into proceedings here and welcome in our guest this morning. Firstly, Ollie, very good morning to you.
Morning, Matt. Really looking forward to that Oaks. Tonight it looks like a fantastic race. There's certainly a few chances and a few ways it could play out. So look forward to dissecting that race a bit later.
And Glenn Moore, very good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning, boys. Good morning, listeners. Yeah, the Oaks sensational Derby prelude tonight too is always going to be interesting. And happy birthday to Greg Bond too. Okay. Birthday today.
Happy birthday, Bondy. And he's got a few good chances tonight too, including Better Fortune a little bit later in the program, who looks to be a smart type. As mentioned, Michael Young will be joining us very soon, but let's get into proceedings here. The download the TABtouch app pace gets things underway at 21:30 metres at the time of 5:18. And one pocket the change, 13-2 Burley Shard, 21. 3R Major Jack, 71. 4 Franco Mecca, 20. 5 Sid Strepo, 21. Sweet Cocoa, $1.55. The Wand Wave at 26. Overly Excited, $6. Major J, 19. Beat the Bank, 14. Off the Chance, 16. And $17 about Flight to the Finish, Ollie.
I thought this was a really good race for Sweet Cocoa here. She's got very good gate speed. She's been pretty good in her 3 runs so far in WA, and I think if she finds the front in this race, she's going to be very hard to catch. I thought Pocket the Change was one of the better place bets of the night and should get a great run here on the leader's back. She doesn't have the best gate speed, but I do think she has enough gate speed to hold the 2 and the 3 in this race, and if she can do that, then she should be able to sit straight on the favourite, and from there should get every chance in this race. I think Beat the Bank is going to get a really good run through back on the rails, and if it turns into a pegs race, he's going to be really well suited in that position. And I've put our Major Jack in there for 4th, who I thought was a much better run last start with the driver switch, and Lindsay Harper takes the drive this time, and I think he can just work across and then potentially sit on an Overly Excited or a Major J in this race and get a really good run just off the speed. 6-1, 10-3.
6-1, 10 and 3 in the early stages. No concerns about Franco Mecca potentially pinging out and maybe trying to cross Pocket the Change?
He has reasonable gate speed, Franco Mecca, but I don't think he flies out the gate. So I'm hoping Pocket the Change can keep her legs underneath, and if she can, I'm pretty confident. The way she worked last start, if she gets an easier run, she's going to be in the placing somewhere.
What were your thoughts in this race, Silky?
Yeah, it's a good point, Matt. Franco Mecca, but Pocket the Change showed a fair bit of gate speed last week when it kicked up in the middle. And I think that gate speed should be enough to allow it to hold up here and get the lead, and then look to sit behind the favourite, Sweet Cocoa, heavily back, $2.40 into $1.55. It just kept coming for it. And rightly so, it's a bit of a class drop here. And the 7th last start was no problem. The 2 previous runs were very good. It breezed in one of those. Excellent run. So doing a bit of work's no fears for Sweet Cocoa based on that 3rd when it breezed. 6 to win from 1. Same thought processed on the speed map. If that works out, it should probably be 6 from 1. The 10 then gets its chance, Beat the Bank to rail through, become a place chance. Have gone the same way, 6-1-10. But I've thrown Overly Excited in. I think it probably will be outside the leader at some point once they settle. That's problematic. There could be others looking for that spot early, and then it might take a while to get there. But I put Overly Excited, racing really well, put into run 4th, 6-1, 10 and 8.
6-1, 10 and 8 for Glenn, 6-1, 10, 3 for Ollie. I'm going sort of away from Pocket the Change, who has probably burnt me just a couple of times when I've been confident. So I do think that this is a suitable race for her, and she can definitely run into the money. But going with the 6 on top, Sweet Cocoa, for obvious reasons, looks very hard to beat. 8 Overly Excited, I think's got the depth to be able to work forward, do the work, and stick on really well. I think he can run top 2 in this race. In for 3rd, I'm throwing in the 4 Franco Mecca, who I think's racing really well. I thought was a significant chance of nearly being able to cross in the early stages. He's got a lot of early speed. and can definitely play a part. And number 12, Flight of the Finish, I think has been racing well, and it should be getting home reasonable from the back of the field there. It's pretty open as you look towards the novelty. 6, 8, 4 and 12 for me, 6, 1, 10, 8 for Glenn, at 6, 1, 10, 3 for Ollie. We're now being joined by Michael Young, who is the state's leading trainer, 3-time premiership coach, and he joins us now. Good morning, Youngie.
Morning, boys.
You've got first horse to mention, Blaze Away, who definitely didn't disgrace himself last start in the 4-year-old classic at Pinjarra, the 27 and a bit down the back, home in 26 and a bit. He stuck on really well. What's the expectations going into this race tonight?
I thought he did go pretty well, but that's probably kind of been him all his career, really. He can follow a helmet and that in good speed, but once you put him into the clear, he kind of doesn't put in. So, tonight looks a pretty reasonable race for him, class-wise. Like on class, he's probably the class runner of the field, but same kind of thing. When he leads, he's kind of a giant killer. When he sits in the field, he seems to find ways to get beat. So, might be the same kind of thing tonight.
How do you play it here? Sugar Delight looks the likely leader. Then you're drawn 12 clearly. Would you look to put the horse in the race and maybe sit outside the leader if the pace allows you to do that? Middle Page may be one that wants to be there. That would be maybe an issue. Mr. Macedon can press forward. Would you view the possibility, if they back off going to the breeze, as being the way you might drive the horse?
I think it's a possibility. Kind of just leave it up to Emily out there to get a bit of a feel of the race and what's kind of happening. And if there is that opportunity, then we're not afraid to put him into it. But, those couple of horses you just mentioned might be in that spot. And if they are there, they're kind of rolling types anyway, so we wouldn't have to go. And then we could kind of just drive him for his speed, because he is a pretty fast horse. But like I said, it's just he doesn't try overly hard when he's chasing, that's all. But, ideally we'd like to just sit him up and drive him for speed and see if he wins that way. But he is versatile enough to go if the pace dictates that.
In race 6, you've got a few runners here and a few nice horses. Heavenly Gypsy, she returns from a spell and she's got excellent gate speed on her day, and we know how good Penny Black is. How do you see this race playing out for all of yours?
Princess Katie's probably got no chance, so she'll just follow him around and drop the 2 points off her NR. So that's probably a win for her. And the other two, I thought Gypsy was probably the pick off the draws and the possible speed map. I thought that she could get to the front, and as we seen last time, she led. She beat Magnificent Storm, even though it wasn't a fully wound up Magnificent Storm. He still beat most horses on most days. So she went pretty good that day. I would think that if she led tonight, I know Penny sat outside her and beat her once before, but just couldn't really ever see that happening again. So, I think she's the best chance, but she'll be handlebars down at the start, and if she doesn't get there, then that's probably going to have meant that enough work's been done early that then Penny can pop around and she'd probably win the race under that scenario.
And in race number 9, Lincoln Lou's drawn to the disadvantage of Better Fortune and Chase Me. What's the expectations going in here against two very smart horses who have obviously got far better draws than yours?
Yeah, obviously he's just drawn out of it tonight, so he certainly won't disgrace himself. He's got really high speed that's going to pull himself out of a lot of trouble often. So, we'll just give him a quiet run, I think, and see how many we can pick off late. And it should be a few, even from back there. He should be able to pick off a few. But he's drawn pretty. I mean, he's ranked pretty poorly in the rankings. So, drawing wide and following around probably isn't going to do as much help in getting into the Derby field. So, not really ideal, but we've got another couple of lead-up races to hopefully draw slightly better at some stage.
You've got some horses racing over the weekend, Northern Collie and Pinjarra. Two that strike a fair bit of interest on Monday. Majestic Gaga, third up into the prep, and also a new one in the third race, which is another Trotters event, Aristotle. What can you tell us about their chances?
Yeah, Aristotle gets over here on a pretty low mark, so he gets in against the lower grade Trotters. He's working okay at home, so I would think that he'd be a definite winning chance. And Majestic Gaga, she's probably going okay. She's kind of getting the raw end of the handicaps at the moment. She's given Aldebaran Boy to start every week for some unknown reason. I think the handicapper loves her. I should probably see if he wants to buy her.
So who's the best chance for you tonight then, you think?
I think Heavenly Gypsy. I just thought that she'd be able to find the front. And I don't think there's many mares races if she leads that she's going to get beaten in the near future.
So you're confident that Heavenly Gypsy's come back where it's left off?
Yeah, she might have even come back slightly better. I know she's first up, but she's been working with Penny, and she can kind of deal with Penny pretty comfortably. Whereas last time she wasn't. Penny kind of dealt to her a bit. So I think off that, and Penny's first up run was pretty good, I thought. So just taking lines through that, I think she might have come back slightly better.
Big push.
Thank you very much, Young. All the best, mate, and hopefully a few winners there and a few winners over the weekend. We'll chat again to you soon.
No worries. Thanks for having me on, guys.
There we have Michael Young joining us here. So interesting comments in the mares race, which is coming up a little bit later on in the preview. But let's move to race number 2 now, which is at 5:48. Is you've got the touch with TABtouch pace, 21.30. Under the Alta at 71, El Waddell 41, Maximum Rock 10, Hail St. Louis 480, Follow Rock and Roll 23, Quinton 17, Louis LeBeau 26, Elta Tribute 175, Tiger Royal at 23, Cold Hard Cash 15 with Chili Punter and $11 about Max Better. Glenn, what did you see in race number 2 happening?
Yes, Matt, look, Elder Tribute, certainly class horse here, gets his chance. It's probably, still going to have to circle the field to do it and do all the work to get it done. At some point, be put in the race anyway. I don't know whether it'll be early. There'll be a bit on early between Maximum Rock and Hail St. Louis. I think El Waddell might want to push up as well. There's a few there that might want to get involved. So I think Junior can let it unfold and take the opportunity to put Delta Tribute into the race. And I think he might be a touch too good. Plenty of money to suggest that into $1.75 now. He's going to be hard to beat. It's probably a reasonable price, $1.75 for a horse of his class. And there's a confidence there from the senior as well that all's well with Elder Tribute from his interview during the week. And I'll put it on top to beat the 3. Maximum Rock could be the leader here. A bit contentious about that, but I think Voki will have a good dash for the lead here. The 4 will want to get forward, Hail St. Louis. It's starting to find its form now, getting back to its best 8, 3, 4. And put the 9 in Tiger Royal. Bit of a class dropper, Tiger Royal. Got involved in that. Bit of a war out of the gate with Rock and Roll Artist and Chili Punter last week and did a bit too much work. But this race might sort out better for it. And the class of Tiger Royal might get into the top 4. 8, 3, 4 and 9.
8, 3, 4 and 9. On with the 8 on top as well to tribute the ground that he lost a few starts ago. Was in against some nice types. This looks the right sort of grade for him. And I think he could just watch things unfold. There's a little bit of conjecture, as you mentioned, for the lead. But I think the 8's going to be very hard to beat. So Elder Tribute on top for me. In for second, I'm throwing in the 4 Hull St. Louis. If he was able to find the top, he'd be able to give a bit of cheek, but I'm just a little bit concerned in the early stages. Under the Elter likes to stay forward. El Waddell will probably have a shot for the top, as well as Maximum Rock, so there's a little bit of concern there for Hull St. Louis backers, but he is versatile and he can get into the money. 12 in for third, Max Better, expecting him to be getting home really strongly, and 3 Maximum Rock in for fourth. 8, 4, 12, 3, Ollie.
I've gone with Ultra Tribute on top as well. He certainly looks a class runner in this field, and he's going to be hard to beat wherever he ends up. I've got Hale St. Louis in for second as well, who was really good there behind Better Fortune last start. And we know Better Fortune is going to be one of the fancied runners in the Derby coming up shortly, so he's got to be respected. Maximum Rock, it just depends how much work he's got to do early to get across those runners inside him. If he can get there cheaply, he'll certainly run a bit of a cheeky race. And I thought Max Better hit the line slightly better last start. He didn't handle that last bend overly well, but once he got into the straight, he picked up a bit of ground, and I thought he was a bit of an improved run. So certainly he's a classy runner at his best, and he could be one that puts a little bit of value into the exotics of this race. 8-4-3-12.
8-4-3-12, 8-3-4-9 for Glenn, and 8-4-12-3 for me in race 2. On to the third race. This is at 6:18. TABtouch Place, the same race, multi-pace. 21.30, 1 Sugar Delight, 2.90, 2 Joey James, 91, Little Happy Fella, 16, Sweet Lucifer at 9, Middle Page, 15, Cordero, 21, Dark Eyes, 8.50, Mr. Macedon, 16, Illawong Mustang, 41, Travel Ban, $11, Tri Real Brigade at 12, and Blaze Away at 2.90 here, Ollie.
I've put Travel Ban on top here. Certainly going to need a little bit of luck, this horse, but I think he's been really good his last couple of starts. Last start, he was really flying home when he got clear. He's going to get the run on the back of the likely leader in Sugar Delight. I'm not really sure where Sugar Delight's at the moment. She's certainly got the speed to lead in this race, but she was beaten a very long way last start. She did a lot of work, but she was beaten over 50 metres. So I've got a little bit of a query there. If she does have to do work in this race again, I certainly think that's going to potentially find her out. And if the gaps appear, Travel Ban's going to be hard to hold out. Blaze Away, I've got him in for second. He might have to do the work in this race potentially. Michael suggested that he might be sat up. I'm not sure he's a breeze horse, so he might be needing to be driven for luck, which makes it a little bit tricky from 12. Sugar Delight, I've got it in for third, but a little bit of a query where she's at the moment. And Sweet Lucifer, I thought, was pretty good last start, battling on from the breeze, running fourth there. Comes into this race fourth up from a spell, should be nearing peak fitness. 10, 12, 1, 4.
10, 12, 1 and 4. Your thoughts, Glenn?
Yeah, look, a little tricky here. Sugar Delight looks the leader. How much pressure it cops will be interesting, but I think you could probably say hasn't had a lot of luck, and last start, clearly there was a tremendous amount of pressure on the Rebline race, where Rebline saw Vesperlin back on the rails, picked up Raclou late. There was a lot of mid-race pressure, and Sugar Delight was up on that speed, and it didn't suit it at all here, barrier 1. If it can get a comfortable lead, it'll probably run a better race here tonight. I'm just going to lean the Blaze Away, just on class, coming out of that Pinjarra 4-year-old classic. A meritorious run against very good horses. Needs a bit of luck from the draw, but just lean to it. 12 to win from 1. Sugar Delight, I think, would be a big improver. The one you mentioned, Travel Ban, very unlucky at Narrogin. Got out Lady Camel. Just held it out late. It couldn't get out early enough. Was storming home. It's the type of draw it likes. It's going to be hard to hold out if it can get that clear run. So I've gone 12 to win from 1 and 10, following through. The 5 Middle Page, Sweet Lucifer for the other 2 that I sort of factored up there. Middle Page racing well, can go to the breeze. I just lent that way because the tactical advantage of Middle Page to get a forward position. It doesn't mind sitting outside the leader. That's possibly where it'll be. 12, 1, 10 and 5. 12,
1, 10, 5 for Glenn. On with the one on top. Sugar Delight, I think she can lead her. I reckon it could be relatively comfortable in the early stages. She's got that natural dash. I'm expecting her to lead pretty easy. And then from there, you've got Middle Page. I guess there's a little bit of a concern, I think, in his early gate speed. Mr. Macedon will be going forward, as well as, I assume, Dark Eyes, Sweet Lucifer. So there's likely to be some chopping and changing, but I just don't think there's horses that are going to put that much pressure on Sugar Delight, as opposed to just for trying to find positions. So I think it could be a comfortable lead. And Sugar Delight, we saw a few starts ago, was really good when leading. I think we can see her get back to a better form, and I think she'll be hard to beat. So 1 on top, 10 in for second, Travel Ban. Agree with everything Ollie said. I like Travel Ban. I think he'll run a really good race. Just took a little while to balance up when getting out late at Narrogin. He's a big, robust horse, so put him in for second. 12 in for third. Agree wholeheartedly with what Michael Young said about Blaze Away. He's a very smart horse. He's a giant killer when he leads, but when he doesn't lead, he can sometimes get beaten in races you don't expect him to, but I think he'll run a good race here. And 7 Dark Eyes in for fourth, 1, 10, 12 and 7. Heading to the traffic soon. Race 4 at 6:48 is the TABtouch Scan My Bet pace. 21.30. Otis, 6.50 into 160. Number 2, Infinite Sign, $20. Multimate Chevron, 31. Rock Artist, 11. Who's the Dad, 51. Cam's Boulder, 41. Arden's Horizon, 14. Lusaka, 3.50. Hillview Bondi at $11 and Flying Rumour, $17. Silky, did you get some of the 6.50?
I wish. I don't know how they came up with the 650. Obviously, the numerics weren't there, but the barrier draw changes everything for a horse like Otis. It always races well off these good draws. And now it's got in too short, Matt, at the $1.60.
Yeah.
The 650 was wrong, but probably around the 220, 210 mark I thought would be the reasonable opening price for it. But look, having said that, very hard to beat. The lead looks there. I don't see enormous challenges for the lead here. It's got very good gate speed. I don't think it can get it. No, I don't. But it's got gate speed, I agree. Otis is a pretty good beginner. It has held up on all these races when it's drawn one and handed over when it's had to hand over to horses like Magnificent Storm at Bunbury or Mr. Smarty on another occasion when it drew one. It held up. I'm not 100% sure whether Chris Folk could get involved in that either. He may do, but he might think that's an opportunity. But I think Otis got plenty of gate speed. Will do enough to lead, which means the 10 will trail it, Flying Rumour, and going to get a pretty good run. Look, the class dropper here for me, the one that could knock him over is Lusaka. This is dropping back tremendously in class. Hillview Bondi is probably in the breeze. So Lusaka for me could be driven forward here, wait for Hillview Bondi, who will want the breeze. That's its best spot. And Lusaka could have the last crack. He's the one I'd be worried about. The current prices, that's if I hadn't had a bet till now, it's drifted from 240 to 350. He's the one I'd back, I think. Lusaka, if he gets around the $4 mark, good each way bet, I think. But I've lent with the one. I think it gets us great opportunity to win. I've gone 110, 8 and 9. 110, 8 and 9.
110, 8, 9. Ollie?
I think Otis will lead and I think he'll win this race. I think he is also a very big class dropper and just being out in front really suits a horse like Otis. Lusaka, as Glenn mentioned, he is a big class dropper and I think he'll have to be put into the race. He might have to do the work in the breeze and he's certainly going to be thereabouts, or he can take a sit on a horse like Hillview Bondi, who is also flying at the moment. Flying Rumour, we have no idea where this horse is at. Hasn't trialled a few months spell coming into this race, so bit of a query there, but certainly on its better efforts could certainly place in a race like this. And I've got Hillview Bondi in for fourth, who is just flying at the moment, was able to win again from the breeze last start and maybe left to do the work again, but that's where he loves to race. 1, 8, 10, 9.
1, 8, 10, 9 for Ollie. 1, 10, 8, 9 for Glenn. On with the 8 on top, Lusaka, who's a horse that I've always liked, as we know, and I think he'll get a really good run here.
Probably the 1-1.
Yeah, probably the 1-1. I'm expecting him to be
good spot
forward. Hillview Bondi up outside them, puts a little bit of pressure on.
Yeah.
And my concern with Otis is if it was going into the Nullarbor, I would just declare and say he's unbeatable.
Yeah, his form's not quite as strong.
Not quite as strong as what it was, but
it could be barrier draw related, Matt.
It could be, but he was still defying maps and everything. He was outstanding. So. That's my only concern with Otis, but in saying that, he's an incredibly good front runner and I think he'll get a great opportunity. So 8 from 1, more so I'm tipping on what I would back in the race at the prices right now, but what you said, Glenn.
Yeah.
So 8 from 1, 9 in for third, and that is Hillview Bondi. I think he'll run a really good race. And 4 Rock Artist, I like the way that he hit the line first to up 8, 1, 9 and 4. 1, 10, 8, 9 for Glenn, 1, 8, 10 and 9 for Ollie. Let's go out to the roads.
You are listening to the Gloucester Park Preview, proudly presented by Retrovision. Retrovision, lowest prices guaranteed. RAC members save an extra 5% every day at Retrovision.
Welcome back to the Retrovision Gloucester Park Preview. No Glenn Mortimer today, so we have no quiz, so no voucher to give out. But we're moving on now to the TABtouch 3-year-old fillies WA Oaks of Group 1 level over the 25-36 and cracking race upcoming. Poppy on the beach, $16. Copperhead Lady, $3.20. Ruby Lou, $26. Captains Have Time, $18. Better Than Life at $2.30. Our Rich Cargo, $81. Rainette, $61. Fakin at $4.60. Akoya Pearl, $51. Ruby Lavera, 14, Aretha, 17, and Kinky at $81, 100 to 1 about Manhattan Ruby and Delulu in this race. Just a quick refresh to see if we've got any scratchings. None whatsoever at this stage. So that doesn't bode well for the emergencies to gain a start. Ollie, really interesting race. Better Than Life is favourite. It's had not exactly the most ideal path into a WA Oaks. Trialling last Saturday at Byford, galloped. Less than 20, or actually about 24 hours later, rolls on to Calabaran, which I don't think anyone had that on their bingo card for 2025, and did everything right. Can she win the Oaks?
Yeah, I certainly think she can. I think Michael Young will be taking a bit of the credit there for taking her around to Calabaran on the Sunday and getting her around safely.
I've got the big question. If Michael Young had a Oaks filly, would he have taken her? Would he have put her on the float?
Interesting, they got the hood on her here. The hood wasn't on in Byford trials, so you mentioned the concentration.
Yeah.
I think at Byford, she seemed all over the place.
Looking at everything.
She was. Put the hood on for the Calabaran trial, and that might be significant to the concentration. That might be part of the problem, perhaps.
Yeah, so she's $2.30. She's in from $2.70 opening out the 3 and then into $2.30. Ollie, have you got her on top?
Yeah, I certainly do. She's been terrific this time in. She's been forced to do the work. And this race looks a race where maybe she could just let the dust settle a little bit early. I think Copperhead Lady will be pretty keen to lead. I think Ruby Lou will be keen to lead, get across in the early stages. And we know how fast Rainette is as well when she flies off the gate. And I think Faking It might head forward as well. So there's certainly going to be a bit of speed on early. If there is speed on and then Better Than Life can get around for the breeze, I think she's going to be really, really hard to hold out. And her last couple of runs have been super when beaten by Faking It, but Faking It has had that really, really good trip, close enough to the speed to run over the top and beat Better Than Life. They're both really nice fillies, but I think it's advantage Better Than Life given the barrier draws in this race. So I'm happy to go that way. I've got Faking It in for second. If Rainette was to cross and she did get the lead, she'd certainly become the one to beat, but there is a bit of a query on that. There's plenty of gate speed underneath, so whether Rainette can get across is a bit of a query. Faking It can win this race a few different ways. She's a very nice filly, so certainly have a lot of respect for her despite the wide gate. Copperhead Lady, she was a great run last start. She was hitting the line really, really strongly, and she's a nice filly.
You got Copperhead Lady leading? Yeah,
I think she'll be able to do enough there. Ruby Lou,
Poppy the Beach, you think will intentionally sit, do you?
Yeah, I think there'll just be enough speed there that Poppy on the Beach is probably a better horse when she's driven quietly in a race like this, and I think Ruby Lou drawn alongside Copperhead Lady probably won't quite be able to get across them. It is a 2,500 metre start point, which probably opens things up a little bit in the early stages. But if Copperhead Lady can do enough to lead, that certainly brings her into the race for mine. And I've got Ruby Livera in for fourth there, who is going to get a really good run on the pegs. If they do overdo it and the gaps open up, that's usually a great spot to be in. And she was able to win a race not too long ago at big odds when getting a similar run to that. So I'm happy to include her on that basis. 5, 8, 2, 10 for me.
5, 8, 2 and 10. I'm with the 8 on top, Faking It. I just don't think you could knock her form. She's been absolutely outstanding. And I go back to the first run at Pinjarra where interviewing Junior, and he said that she was going to be underdone for the Westbred, and just seeing how she's been able to elevate every time she's raced this time in. She's also relatively lightly raced, so the more she races, she's learning more about the craft and getting better and better. She profiles as a horse that can run 2,500 metres really well, and I think Faking It can win the race. So 8 on top for me. In for second, I'm putting in the 2 Copperhead Lady. I think she'll give a ton of cheek if she was able to get to the top. Jury's out whether she does get to the lead.
You got the one sitting, Matt? One for the interviews tonight?
Not
sure?
Not 100% sure because, Poppy on the Beach does like to roll along and
can get fired up's the other issue. Would they be thinking, if they are thinking of sitting, there'll be enough pressure coming from Better Than Life and Faking It if Copperhead Lady leads, you can take the pressure and they can camp on them.
The thing, I do agree with that. What I also see envisage as well is Rainette may have a dash out wider, but Ruby Lou's also very quick Better Than Life's going to want to try and get forward as well as quickly as she can. So there is a bit of early pressure which may cause Mitch Miller to relent on Poppy on the Beach, and So I have got Copperhead Lady as being a fair chance to being able to get to the top. But either way, I think she'll be close enough, and I do like this horse. I think she's got Oaks quality written all over her. 5 Better Than Life in for third. I don't like the preparation in. That's really concerning for me. A few of her little traits. She galloped last time at the racetrack. She galloped last Saturday. And even on the Sunday, she was still a little bit rocky for mine. She was more focused, but a little bit rocky as well. So I think she's short enough, too short for mine, in for third. She's likely raced as well. And 10, Ruby Lavera, put in for fourth. Will be running home really well. Put her in the mix with Aretha. I'm expecting her to be getting home quite well in this race too. But as we've seen in previous years, some of the WA Oaks have been incredibly well raced with early pressure and plenty of surprises. So I'm looking forward to this one again. 8, 2, 5, 10, Glenn.
Yeah, look, you've said it well, boys. There's a fair bit of conjecture about what's going to happen early. Probably the Beach is the first question. We've addressed that. It'll probably depend on the way they view probably the Beach in terms of whether it's going to get fired up. And also, Ryan Bell, Jack Callahan, they're going to be aggressive here out of the gate, and they're not going to hand over. So my gut feeling is Copperhead Lady will end up in front. Probably the Beach take the set, which gives Ruby Lavera and Probably the Beach those beautiful runs, and the 2500 notorious for horses on the rail getting out and running home in these type of races. They usually get the run. That may happen. Puts Copperhead Lady in front. Some point Better Than Life probably will be outside the leader. That's the racing style. The punters are not deterred. $3 into $1.30, even given all the problems. The gear change, the hood on, could make a difference. A bit of tinkering as well, perhaps, with other things that might help Better Than Life tonight get around. But I'm with you, Faking It. I think Faking It's a tremendous bet here at the $4.60 and $1.70. I think it's a tremendous bet. It's almost each way odds. And I'm pretty keen on Faking It, who can overcome a number of different ways this race can be run. We've seen Faking It come around the field, circle the field to beat Better Than Life, albeit Better Than Life did a heap of work that night. Faking It did a huge job itself to circle the field and win. It's won very easily last week from the 1-1, really easily from the 1-1. Had a perfect run. It had Copperhead Lady on its back when it pulled out, followed it into the straight, and Faking It was stronger on the line and getting away for mine on the line. The barrier draws are reversed a bit here, brings Copperhead Lady into it, but I'm leading to Faking It to win from the 5. So 8 to win from 5. Captains have time. Copperhead Lady certainly in the picture here. The other one, 8, 5, 2, and the 1 probably in the Beach. If it gets that lovely run, I think it can figure 8, 5, 2 and 1.
8, 5, 2, 1 in the Oaks for Glenn. 5, 8, 2, 10 for Ollie. 8, 2, 5, 10 for me in race 5. Let's move on to race 6, 7:49. TABtouch Share My Bet Pace. 21.30. Soho Vesperland at 18. Beyond the Scene 91. Princess Katie 91. Sweet Vivian at 10. Heavenly Gypsy 235. The 6 Wonderful to Fly at 9.50. Penny Black 340. Artie by the Seaside at 290. Glenn.
Yeah, look, I was tipping Heavenly Gypsy anyway, based on the fact that it's led and beat Magnificent Storm for a start. And I know Magnificent Storm wasn't truly cranked up, but still a huge scalp. And it's got a few scalps now. Heavenly Gypsy, it did lead that time from barrier 9, I think it was, boys, when it flew across the field and led unexpectedly. It's a horse here that is on the up by the sounds of it. Michael Young's description when we asked the question, where's it at? Because it's first up. It's a reasonable question. He's very confident here. I guess you've got Sweet Vivian's right alongside it. We'll try and lead. But I'm just going to lean to Heavenly Gypsy. Long Race Bay did get Sweet Vivian. Heavenly Gypsy seems a brilliant beginner. I think it might do enough to get the lead and be hard to beat. 5 from 7. Penny Black went terrifically well in the fast class race the other week against Smarty. 5 from 7, 8. Artie by the Seaside, Total Respect. Bad draw. 5, 7, 8. 4, Sweet Vivian. Racing out of its skin. 5, 7, 8 and 4.
5, 7, 8 and 4. Your thoughts, Ollie?
I certainly think Heavenly Gypsy is going to be hard to beat in this race. She was obviously able to beat Magnificent Storm, as was mentioned by Michael Young, and there's no Magnificent Storm in this race. If she can lead, she's going to be really, really hard to run down. Penny Black certainly has to be respected and was good there first up in probably what was a stronger race behind Mr. Smarty. So looks good form for this race, and she'll likely get around to the breeze at some stage where she loves to race. And I thought Artie's by the Seaside, she'd certainly need the race run to suit. She had the race run to suit last start and she was able to get over the top of them. But given she's drawn 8 here, it's going to make it tough if it is a slowly run race and at a bit of a dash home. So that's a bit of a query there. And I've got Soho Vesperlind in for 4th, who I think is flying at the moment. If she sat really quickly, I could see her running third or 4th in a race like this. She is going very well. 5, 7, 8, 1.
5, 7, 8 and a 1. I had a concern that Sweet Vivian would try and lead. I guess that's the concern that everyone has got, and people are looking past that happily. Heavenly Gypsy's a really smart horse, but yeah, look, I'm going to go with Penny Black because I thought Penny Black's first up run was sensational outside of Mr. Smarty, and I think she'll come on from that and she'll be hard to beat. 5 Heavenly Gypsy in for second. Just that concern that I had initially when you look at a race, I feel like you read it nearly the best that you can, and I thought she was a little bit of a concern of not finding the top. Yeah, Sweet Vivian.
The one right alongside is more of a concern.
Yeah, and Sweet Vivian's just quick, and we saw like Chris Folk drove her very confidently last week.
Longreach did beat it out.
Longreach Bay.
Yep.
Longreach Bay's pretty quick.
Yeah, pretty quick. Yeah, so's this horse.
Yeah, but drawn alongside always makes it a bit harder.
It's a factor, yep.
8 in for 3rd, Artie by the Seaside. Great win last start, and 4 in for 4th, Sweet Vivian, who is racing in rarefied air, but this is a significant rise in grade, so it'll be interesting to see what happens early. Race number 7, 8:19. TABtouch supports Gloucester Park pace. 17:30 is the distance. Longreach Bay 31. Call Me What You Want 126. High price 51. El Capone 151. Hotly Pursued at $3. Captain Ravishing $6.50. Swingband 18, and Mr. Smarty $1.45. Ollie.
This race looks another good race for Mr. Smarty, who was great there last start, did a lot of early work, and was still a fair way too good for Captain Ravishing, who he comes up against in this race again. I'm not sure Captain Ravishing can get across to the inside this time, which looks a little bit of a query. He was okay there first up, probably better for that run. I've got Hotly Pursued in for second, who I think has been terrific last few starts. Really deserved that last start win and was quite impressive there. Won by a decent margin, and this race potentially could get across to the inside. It'll be a little bit of a query whether Longreach Bay is happy to hand up. He is going to go around the long price, but he generally does his best work out in front, so he has the options there from gate 1. I've got Swingband in there for 3rd, who I think is going quite well at the moment. He was much better last start when running 3rd behind Magnificent Storm, and this race looks to set up similar. He can be running into it late. His best is certainly good enough for a race of this nature. 7, 5, 7, 5, 8, 5, 7, 1. So.
There we go.
Got there eventually.
8, 5, 7 and 1. You're buffering. Glenn, your thoughts?
Yeah, interesting race, boys, in terms of gate speed and size. Not going to walk in the park here, even though Mr. Smarty's got the class. The 1700s are a leveller for any class of race at Gloucester Park when you're out wide. I see some potential issues at $1.45. I know it opened at $1.18, which was ridiculous. $1.45 is getting backable. I'd agree with that for a start, because I think if Mr. Smarty gets outside the leader, he'll be winning. There's going to be a bit on, though. The query that you raised about Longreach Bay is not racing in peak form, but 1700, barrier 1, probably first options to lead. If Hotly Pursued got the lead, I'd be pretty concerned that it'd take a bit of running down, I'll tell you that. They opened at $9.50 or thereabouts, $8.50, and the punters have jumped on it on the basis that if it happened to lead, it'll be very cheeky here. I'm a bit worried about it and the 1700 in terms of the price and the speed map. Captain Ravishing will come out as well. So the issue for me is if he got caught wide off the track for too long over a short trip, they can get beaten. But I think if he can get outside the leader, which he'll be driven aggressively here, Hotly Pursued will hold Captain Ravishing for gate speed. So Captain Ravishing might just jump in somewhere, which means that when Smarty comes, what happens with Hotly Pursued outside of Longreach Bay at that point? That'll be interesting. 8 to win, Mr. Smarty. I think you get the job done, but a little bit of nervousness about the distance and the draw. From 5, Hotly Pursued to be cheeky. 6, Captain Ravishing will benefit for the first up run, and the 7, Swingband 8, 5, 6 and 7.
Shazam 8, 5, 6, 7. Mr. Smarty will win. 8, 5, 7 and 1 for Ollie.
No if, buts and maybes for you.
No.
Okay, that's good. I like that.
Yeah, well, I think he'll be aggressive and he'll come out humming. And
got any concerns about what I was talking about with Hotly Pursuit?
No.
Those kicking up?
Yeah, he can kick up, but I just think there's different types of...
get outside the leader is going to be the key.
Yeah, I think he'll definitely maybe stretch Mr. Smarty's neck a little bit, but I think Mr. Smarty's just different gravy. So 8 on top from 5, 6, 7 up to race 8. TABtouch International form pace 21.30, take out 7. Ripperview 26, Lightfoot Lee 26, Star Lily 14, Fireplay 81. It's Okay to Be Grey 21, Sokovia Windstorm 31, Malachite $9, Major Freeway 23, Something Certain 18, Take a Hike 21, Raklu at $1.18. Glenn, numbers in race 8.
Yeah, Raklu looks the one. The only concern would be, we'd seen he was interviewed about horse goes for a knee a little bit. Sometimes that can be a problem coming around the whole field. But we saw last week how good she is, promising horse. Should be able to posse up outside the leader at some point, might even work to the lead. The leader's probably Star Lily. So I've gone 12 from 3, 8 Malachi and 10. Something Certain I like this horse long term. If it can get a clear run at some point, it'll be running on. 12, 3, 8 and 10.
12, 3, 8 and 10. Ollie?
I've got 12 on top as well. Should be too good for these. Was terrific last start, made to work and battled away well. I've got Star Lily in for second as well. I think she's a leader in the race and she's going to run a cheeky race from there if she's going particularly well at the moment. Malachi, another really good run last start. She's strung together 3 placings in a row and she might be set to run another place here. Looks tough for her from gate 8. And I've got Major Freeway in 4th. He is a month between runs, but he's been going particularly well recently. So if he is ready to go here, despite that break between runs, I think he can be thereabouts in the placings. 12, 3, 8, 9. 12,
3, 8, 9. 12, 3, 8, 10 for Glenn. I'm with 12 on top. Raklu should be winning. 3 Star Lily in for second. Looks a strong place chance. 1 Ripperview in for third. And in for 4th and throwing in the 10 in Something Certain, who I like the way that he hit the line last start. 12, 3, 1 and 10 in race 8. Race number 9, TABtouch Sky Racing with race replays. Derby Prelude, 25.36, won a scratching. Better Fortune, $1.30. Chase Me, $3.90. Went in Vegas, 81. Captain Sterling, 26. Belly Up, 26. Troubadour, 18. Lincoln Lou, $9.50. Ollie, do they beat Better Fortune?
No, I don't think they do. He's the pre-draw favourite for the Derby coming up, and this is obviously the Derby prelude. He's going to lead, and I think he's going to be really hard to beat. He has shown good gate speed previously, so I think he should, despite the 2,500-metre start point, which can be a little bit tricky for those drawn low, I think he should drive through. He should lead, and he should be too hard to catch in this race. Chase Me is going to get that great run on his back, but there's a little bit of a query whether he gets out at the right time. They might not go fast enough to open it up for that horse leader's back, but if he does get out, I think he'll run second. Lincoln Lou was a really good second recently behind Cyclone Geordie, who was an unfortunate, scratching sort of from the Derby series. He was injured, but he was the favourite leading in, so that looks pretty good form. And I've got Troubadour in for 4th, who I think is quite a nice horse, and from the draw it's going to be tricky, but have a lot of respect for him. 2, 3, 8, 7. 2, 3, 8, 7.
I'm with 2, 3, 8, 5. Same reasons. Better Fortune should win. Chase Me was absolutely exceptional, I thought, first up in the Battle of Bunbury. Lincoln Lou, classy, and 5 Captain Sterling will be appreciated, being driven for 1 run. 2, 3, 8, 5. Glenn?
Just speed map, where have you got Captain Sterling?
Probably just going back, I would
single
say.
File,
I think it could be single file.
It could be, yep. Something's going to have to move up because I want Chase Me pocketed, I would think. So that'll be interesting. And then when in Vegas goes 3 back, Captain Sterling might be forced to just pop up outside the leader, or maybe even the stablemate of the favourite move up just to lock Chase Me up. There should be something going on there, and they probably go slow enough for Captain Sterling to be comfortable enough to do that. Had a hard run in the Battle of Bunbury. Nothing worked out for it, so I wouldn't take any notice of that. I've got 2 to win from 3. If 3 gets out, it's a little query. 2 from 3. 8, Lincoln Lou. I think its finishing burst is a go, and it'll be flashing, provided there's enough pace. 2, 3, 8. Put the 5 in, Captain Sterling, capable of being positioned up close, and maybe not a really fast run race. 2, 3, 8 and 5.
2, 3, 8, 5, same as me. 2, 3, 8, 7 for Ollie. The last 9.43. TABtouch Pace 21.30. Pet Shop out at $23. In Full Flight $7.50. Chef's Kiss $8.50. Spot on Molly $71. Miss Bejeweled $8.50. Mars Attack $14. Sky High Adder $1.55 and Slay Queen $4.40. Glenn.
Yeah, look, the promising Sky High Adder looks the one on class and ability, but the type of race setup may not suit it in terms of the pace of the race, and whether Sky High Adder can be put in the race a touch earlier, which sometimes you have to be in this situation when you're like it's relied on probably its speed and closing speed, which it's got plenty of. It might be just driven that way cold and be too good. I'm a bit worried about the way the race shape is formed. Miss Bejeweled's the one for me that'll be the one to beat if they take advantage of that situation. I've gone 7 to win Sky High Adder from Miss Bejeweled. The 8 Slay Queen closing late or being put in the race at some point, and the 2 In Full Flight, possible early leader. 7, 5, 8 and 2.
7, 5, 8, 2. I'm with the 7 Sky High Adder. I think what we've seen from her has been very impressive. I think she'll get the job done tonight. 8 Slay Queen, I think, can be driven more assertively and run well. 2 In Full Flight steps up to the 2100 after a good win last start, but definitely has got ability. And 6 in for 4th Mars Attack also comes in afresh, but also has ability. 7, 8, 2, 6. Ollie.
Totally agree with thoughts on the top couple in the market. Sky High Adder and Slay Queen, they certainly look the hardest to beat. I've put Chef's Kiss in this race in for 3rd, who I think might be able to zip across at the start. She obviously took on I'm Stealthy, who was so good there last week, and I think that looks really good for when they ran fast time. So the fact she got a little bit tired late, being first up from a spell, I think was no knock. And if she can lead and control things here, I think she's going to be pretty hard to run down in this race. Miss Bejeweled, just no luck there in that same race. Last start when running 6, got totally wiped out at the start. So can be completely forgiven for that run. 7, 8, 3, 5.
7, 8, 3 and 5, and 7, 5, 8, 2 for Glenn. 7, 8, 2, 6 for me. We'll take a break. Best bet's the other side.
You are listening to the Gloucester Park Preview, proudly presented by Retrovision. Retrovision, lowest prices guaranteed. RAC members save an extra 5% every day at Retrovision.
We need some best bets going into the Oaks meeting tonight for TABtouch. I'll go race 10, number 7 is one of my best, and that is Sky High Adder, who I'm very keen on.
You are listening.
We don't need to hear that again. Sky High Adder in the last race, I think, will run a cracking race. Also liked race 3, number 10 on an each-way basis, Travel Ban. And for the team multi, race 7, number 8, Mr. Smarty, who I'm very keen on. Ollie, what are your bests?
I've gone race 1, number 1 to Place, Pocket the Change. I think she can sit on the favourite, and from there she should get every chance to run a place. And another one I'm keen on to run a place tonight is race 10, number 3, Chef's Kiss. I quite like the horse, and I think will be better for that first up run.
Glenn, your best?
Yeah, Team Multi, Better Fortune, race 9, number 3. I think it ends up about 440 without Team Multi. And I'll link up race 1, number 6, Sweet Cocoa, 8, 12, Rack Lou, 9, 3, Better Fortune, and each way on the night, Faking It in the Oaks, race 5, number 8, Faking It, each way.
Okay, so the team multi, race 1, number 1, a place, Pocket the Change, into race 7, number 8, Mr. Smarty, race 9, number 2, Better Fortune, around about $4.42. We've got the last 2 home, so let's see if we can go for the trifecta. Ollie, thanks for your time.
Thanks, Matt.
Glenn, good luck and good punting.
Yeah, parade ring tonight. Looking forward to the whole thing.
We've got chasing winners coming up the other side, but for now it's news time.